You know, AI has a lot in common with sourdough bread. Sourdough bread, if you don't know, has a starter, and that starter can be over 100 years old. Each time it's added more and more, and it keeps growing and learning and evolving. AI is a little like that. But while we all like sourdough bread and at least the smell of it, we don't like what AI is doing because we can't see it, taste it, feel it, touch it, and we're told that the content is gone, but the way we did it was such a slap in the face. The thing I like about Japan's model is they stated it, they put it out there, and I'm still looking at it. I'm no lawyer and I'm not giving you legal advice, but they sure took an interesting and intelligent approach that protects AI and protects creators. And that is what I want to do with you this year. I think both sides are working towards the same thing and should work together. And that's what I need your help with. See, this isn't about stopping AI. This is about making clear boundaries when AI is taking things, when AI is replicating, and when AI is intended to replace people. Because the one thing with AI that Japan noticed was it's not supposed to be directed towards just AI, it's the community. But if you hurt an individual, you hurt the community. That's something that's missing in the Valley, and sure, we can all make up on it, but what's more important is what goes in is what comes out. Garbage in, garbage out. A relationship with your community in, a relationship with your community is what will come out. How can we find that copyright middle ground where creators and engineers can work together, and the best ones tend to put the creative with the engineers? Creators bring a view you don't see. You want to talk about edge cases? That's who they are. Engineers bring the structure, the coding, the logic, everything. But together, really smart software companies have always used their users as a major source of growth. And I don't think AI will be any different. So they sort of need creators, whether they want to admit it or not. And how can you? Because if you did, you just open the floodgates to a bunch of lawsuits and paying everyone whose content is in AI, which is like everyone who's created content on social or the internet, right? What happens when one country says, open it all up, while the other says, no copyright materials allowed until we figure it out? One says take it all and the other says not so fast. So the take it all is in Japan, and they're moving forward, taking copyrightable content, but with a list of rules that actually make it a little easier to figure out than the US, who says right now nothing generative AI is copyrightable, and putting content into AI, we don't know, we're figuring it out. That is the absolute crux of what this whole business depends on. So yeah, it's not going to go away. But what can you actually do? What road should we take? Because this paradox between countries, think about this. As we grow, we keep thinking in the US and in other countries that this is our big ChatGPT, our large language model. So we all think that we have these large language models, the ChatGPTs, in our country. We have DeepSeek in China and others. We have ChatGPT, Claude, and a bunch of others, open source with Llama, all sorts of choices. In Japan, they have their own AI model for copyright that says, yes, bring it in because we're learning, we're training. The community needs to learn so that the individuals are served as long as the individual rights are not hurt. So right now you can open an AI in Japan and take in any copyrightable content and don't feel like you're doing anything dangerous as long as your intention is to train and to learn. So in a way, that's the engineer's paradise. That's the scenario I see US engineers talking about. Keep it open, do not charge for copyrighted content. Though that's so wrong because they're already making deals with the New York Times. Maybe that's still going on, but other people like Axios have brought deals where technology and money were exchanged. Reddit had a deal with Google. All of this contributes to content and they're getting paid. So at a macro level, the bigger players are definitely working it out because they have the lawyers working this like crazy. And they're waiting till the end and all that's figured out before how that impacts us creators. But that's what I want you to help out with copyright in the US and elsewhere this year, because in the US, they're making a big finding about this time next year. This is the year to put your voice out. Do you think that just taking copyrighted content without permission is allowed? How can we set up permission when we need billions and billions of pictures and documents and text? This is not like a retail store. The volume is so loud. But how do we also encourage that creativity to happen? Because one thing you see with Japan's models is, yes, we stand up for AI and its copyright to be able to use copyrighted materials to get smart. And yes, we stand up for people who own the IP, the content, the copyright, and we're smart enough to do this on a case-by-case basis and figure it out. And I think that's where the US is heading, just moving a little bit slower. And we're saying no, but we can't stop this thing. It's out of the station. So what's my takeaway on this? I don't want us to turn all Japan, but I'm sure keeping an eye on it. And a lot of what the engineers have said made sense to me. If you put these models out, they can get smarter. They can do things for us. And I don't mean the whole eliminate people routine. I mean doing things that aren't worthy of our time in one sense, but even more importantly, aren't things that allow us to do what we need to do in our jobs, in our careers, in our lives. Whew. Until next time.